So it's been kind of a ridiculously long time since I last updated in consideration of everything that's been happening, but I've had a kind of a busy week. My school is currently doing a 2 week run for, well, a 2 week rehearsal run for our AIDS benefit, that our annual AIDS benefit that we do. So I literally have just been going to class, getting my homework done, and then in rehearsal every single night. So I haven't really had time to update on everything that has been going on. But one of my classes canceled, and AIDS benefit rehearsal is not until 9 o'clock tonight. So I thought now would be the perfect time to continue updating on my interviewing college programming life. So everything, it's funny in consideration for my last video, the fact that I had no idea when anything was going to happen, and I literally got my thank you for applying email at 12:50. At 1:16, so I still hadn't even gotten to the class that I was applying in between class time for. But at 1:16, I got an email saying that I could do the web-based interview, and I was thinking, well, I have 40 minutes until class, so I can do the email. If I come late, it's the first day of classes, it's syllabus week, whatever. So I decided I'll fill out the web-based interview. So I did that, and I get the email, or I get the information that it always says like it'll take like 5 days to process or whatever, or all the videos that I've heard, it hasn't really been that quick of a process. So 1:16, I got the email to do the web-based interview, so I probably started around 1:20. And at exactly 2 o'clock the same day, I got an email saying I was a strong candidate, and it asked me to schedule for a phone interview. So I was extremely excited because all in one day all of this happened. So I decided, and that was on Monday, so I decided that to schedule my phone interview on Tuesday at 2:30, so like that Tuesday. So it's officially been a week since my phone interview. So that was all. I was just on cloud 9 at the time. Cloud 9 and like shaking from nervousness because I was really hoping that everything goes smoothly. I didn't know whether scheduling it the day after I had everything done was the best decision, because I didn't have, I had in my mind all through break ideas of possible questions and how to answer everything, but I didn't write anything down over break. And so I'm literally in my classes, not listening to anything that's going to be due throughout the semester because it's syllabus week, and instead writing down what I could possibly have to know for the Disney College program phone interview. But anyway, back to the web-based interview. That was, in my opinion, pretty simple. The most stressful part was that the first half of the questions, it said you had a time limit of 50 seconds per question, which is not bad. It's about a minute per question. But then it was 20 seconds per question, and I was really stressed out because I was thinking, oh man, that's not a lot of time. I hope I don't accidentally click the wrong thing, because you can't go back. Once you have answered you've submitted your answer, there is no going back. So that was the most nerve-wracking part, because sometimes I get a little click happy and don't even look at what I'm clicking. So that was a little stressful. But the questions were all, because I was already in that mentality, because I had applied to work at the Six Flags that happens to be where I live, and for a summer job, and that was grueling. That had to have been a 45-minute to an hour long web-based application process, but it did do kind of like the web-based interview with its style of questions. So because I had spent, and there were so many more questions, and they were so much more specifically situational, it was way too much for the internet. I would have much rather answered most of those questions in person, but some of the more broad questions were very similar to what was in the Disney web-based interview. So I was already in that mentality, in that mode. So the questions were, they all were scaled questions. like, I enjoy working with people, and there were always five options. There was like highly applies. I don't exactly know the wording, but I do know there was like highly applicable, neutral, not applicable, never applicable, something that I know that's not at all a word. And if you're watching this and you know what the words are, for those who are watching this for help, please say what the actual wording is. But it was that exact, it was this, the meaning was the same. And I do know neutral was on there. That was always in the middle. And so all of the questions were stuff like, do you like working with, or like, I like working with people. I just need a break from people sometimes. Sometimes people get on my nerves, or it was a lot of, there were like the negative ones, there were the positive ones, and a couple of them, it were repeat questions, just maybe one or two words that were different. So if you feel like a question is almost the same, it is. So just answer it the exact same way you answered the other one. So it wasn't, those kinds of things aren't entirely too difficult. Sometimes you can overthink the situation and think, well, if I'm answering, like the question that stressed me out the most, I work harder than any of my peers. I was thinking, am I supposed to say, I mean, honestly, to an extent, I think I do. I'm a dual major, so I have to work harder, at least longer, than most of my peers. But I was thinking, if I say yes, am I being conceited? So you can overthink those things. Don't overthink it. It is just corny job interviews, typical questions that you would get in person. Answer it the same way that you would in person. And so that was fairly straightforward, I felt, if you looked at it from that perspective. And so, like I had said, at 2 o'clock, I got the email to schedule my phone interview. So I did that. That was all online scheduling. And my phone interview the next day at 2:30, well, it was scheduled for 2:30. She did not call me until about 2:41, 2:42. I got really nervous because Tuesdays and Thursdays were my best days, but that last Thursday was a very abnormal Thursday in terms of an early rehearsal, so I was afraid I would have to wait until today because I thought maybe something went wrong and I was going to have to reschedule my interview. I was really worried about that, but she did end up calling me, and she was extremely, extremely polite. She had apologized she didn't really apologize, but she just wanted to double check and make sure she knew that she had called late to make sure that we could still do our interview, since it was almost 15 minutes after the scheduled interview time. But I'd given myself like 2 hours of time in between classes. So, I had told her, no, everything's perfectly fine. I have plenty of time. Her name was Wendy. So if you have Wendy, she's a very lovely woman. She has a very sweet, perky voice, very Disney. And I mean, her name, Wendy, I thought that was cute. That's very Disney too. And she was, the way the interview went, she said, because I had applied for so many jobs, which she said was a good thing, she said we couldn't discuss every single job that I had put that I was highly interested in. But we talked about character performing, attraction. Well, she asked me what my first choice would be, and I said character performing. She brought up attractions and merchandise in that order afterwards, and I had to give her an explanation as to why I would want to do character performing. Well, the very first thing was why Disney, and I had my entire answer written out beforehand. That's one of the things I worked on in class, and so I made sure that it wasn't too performing specific, because I wanted to make sure that they knew I wanted to work for Disney, even if I don't immediately get a performing job. So I made sure that it was I want to work for Disney and not just perform at Disney, though that is really, really, really what I want to do. And so that took a little while to construct, but it was very much from the heart, so I thought that my answer was good. I didn't read it off the paper or anything, because once I had fully figured out how I wanted to word it, I could, remember everything. And then we talked. She'd asked me about character performing, and I told her why I wanted to character perform. And then, of course, after every single, when she went over every single job, she had to go over all of the negatives and what would make that job extremely difficult. Like for character performing, she had put that you're going to be hot, you're going to be sweaty, you've got this suit, and you've got all of the padding and everything, and it's just excruciatingly hot, even if you would just be in a tank top and some shorts underneath. And, she has to ask if you think that you are ready to take on that task. And then for attractions, she had put that there were a lot of technical aspects, which was not bad for me at all, because I have worked tech backstage for shows before. It's required at my school for theater majors to take stagecraft, set and props, and stagecraft light and sound. So I've operated a light and a soundboard, and I've worked backstage technical wise. Not that you need to do that for attractions, but I know how certain things work. So I do have some experience with that, so I told her no, the idea of working with technology did not scare me. And then she had said, it was funny, she said, this probably does not apply to you, but there is an awful lot of speaking in the Kilimanjaro Safari and the Great Movie Ride. And so she had said that makes some people nervous and all that stuff. And she said, but as being a theater major, I'm sure you're used to that. And I said yes, those would be two attractions that, of course, I would absolutely love to do. Except then she had to ask if I had my license, and embarrassingly, I do not, because I haven't really needed one yet. Because I live in a college town. Like, town is literally just that way, a couple blocks. And so I've never needed one while on campus because everything is within walking distance. And then at home, I'm not really doing much that I need to drive, and I'm spoiled with my friends. They're wonderful, and they drive me places if they want to go somewhere. So I haven't needed one yet. So that was going to be my summer project, but of course I didn't tell her all of that. I just had to say no, I did not have a U.S. license. So that probably killed me for Kilimanjaro Safari. I don't know about Great Movie Ride because it's on a track. I sure hope it doesn't kill me for Great Movie Ride. And then she talked to me about merchandise, and she had said, everything would be very fast-paced, etc., etc. So, but I've worked at Target before, so I know how to work a register. I know how to work when some place is busy, when it's busy and you're a cashier. So that wasn't a huge deal. And I told her that I did get training to work on the floor at Target as well. So I'm not just cashier trained. So that was pretty much the phone interview. It was a lot more relaxed than I thought, though I'm sure I sounded extremely formal because I was nervous, but loud, peppy, and formal. I know I was really loud because she said she was sure that I would not have any problems with those two rides that require a lot of speaking, because when I get nervous, I get really loud. It's the projection thing. It's a theater major and probably communications major thing. So I think that the interview went well, in my opinion. I don't think anything went poorly. I was polite. I was nice. We laughed at a couple of things. Like she cracked a joke about how for character performer, the only performer I could probably get away with being hot and sweaty and tired was for Eeyore. I thought that was cute. So I hope that went well. I haven't gotten any information since then yet, since it has only been a week, though the email afterwards told me I would hear in about 2 weeks. I don't know what that means because everything else says 3 to 5 weeks. But I did get the email confirmation about my phone interview, and a few minutes ago I received an email with the dates for the character performer auditions. So I have when those auditions will be, and I have some time, thank goodness, because I am a singer first, singer, and then actress mover, I should say, are probably equal. Depends on, I guess, the show. And I've taken I've been in musicals for a while. I mean, I was just in Hairspray this past summer, so that definitely was like a movement slash dancing boot camp for me. It was really good for me because most of the shows I've done have been like Rodgers and Hammerstein, Gilbert and Sullivan. I did Mulan Jr., which, you know, first off, I was Mulan, so then I really didn't have to move because I wasn't an ensemble part. And second, there really wasn't a lot of Mulan's not really like, you're not, you know. So that Hairspray was good for me, and I took Jazz 1, which did a lot for which did a lot, probably not as much as Hairspray, but Jazz 1 did do a lot for me. But I'm taking Ballet 1 this semester, and this teacher is just go go go. So hopefully I will at least gain some flexibility and the ability to spot a lot better than I do now. And maybe some turns before I get to the audition. If I make the only thing is my audition's so far away, I keep talking like I'm going to audition, but if I don't get accepted, then I can't audition. But I'm trying to think positive, and I'm hoping that I do get accepted, and then my Ballet 1 class will be helpful for the audition. I sure hope so. So I think I have basically said everything I need to say. This is now like a 16-minute video. I had no idea it was going to be this long. I apologize for the length and for my going off track multiple times in this video, but yep, that's where I am right now. I'm in exactly 1 week into the, well, I guess a week and probably like an hour into the waiting process. I'm really hoping that everything goes well for me. I hope that everything goes well for all of you, and I hope that we'll all get to see each other in the fall in Disney World. So until I get my letter in the mail, or I get my notification on my dashboard, or I get my notification by email, I guess this is it for right now. Thank you for watching my video.